Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I have something different for you and quite interesting. I don't think we've ever done this before on the channel. Data mined information from Marvel Future Fight has been presented to the community, and this time around it comes from a Reddit post that's about 24 hours old now. The credit goes to Neo Freen for doing the data mining. And now I have to say at the beginning, before we get into this and before I show you the images, there is no guarantee that these are legitimately data mined pieces of information. I mean, I have no reason to believe that the person would make it up and lie, but I haven't seen anyone do their own data mining and confirm the presence of these in-game items. And I haven't done them myself. So this is secondhand information. I wouldn't take it with 100% certainty. It's just something fun to look at, to see potentially what updates we could get into the future, and to speculate on it and just generally enjoy the artwork and the style of the game. So the ones that we've seen that haven't been released that are data mined are all Defenders related. There's 5 in total, all featuring the 4 characters that we know from the Defenders series on Netflix. We've got Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Daredevil, and Iron Fist, and they're all really cool covers. They're all really nice. Punisher is even in one of them, and they even feature different looks for the characters. In some of them, Daredevil's rocking his newer black and red suit. In some of them, he's got the kind of classic red suit, not necessarily this one, but more along the lines of this one. And even for the other characters involved, they also look different. Sometimes Luke Cage has a hoodie on, sometimes he doesn't, so on and so forth. So this is really, really cool. And these are, of course, comic cards. And now, whether this indicates that Netmarble is considering or is developing a Defenders update is kind of a question, but it would make sense to have some sort of update to coincide with the cards. Now, we've had updates where cards are just introduced without any kind of content or any characters to associate them to, but in this case we have all of the Defenders, and we've gotten multiple different Netflix uniforms for these characters. Marvel's Luke Cage, we've got of course the Marvel's Iron Fist uniform, and so on and so forth. So they all do exist for the most part. There's nothing for Jessica Jones besides the base look for the character, and I believe Daredevil only has the one from season 1 of Daredevil, nothing for season 2, and of course season 3 hasn't come out yet. But adding to that is the fact that Daredevil Season 3 is coming out October 19th, which is about 10 days or 9 days away. So it all happens to be coinciding fairly, soon, which is really exciting. And it's actually really great because all these characters suck. In case you don't know, in case you're still building up your roster and you haven't looked at any of these characters, they're all D tier or C tier characters. By far, the best character is Iron Fist, but only exclusively with this uniform. So it really is a disappointment that these characters, while they are so heavily featured by Netflix and they're making tons of noise and they're super popular in the general public's perception, and even casual Marvel fans love Daredevil, love Jessica Jones, etc., but then they come and play this game, Marvel Future Fight, and these characters are completely borderline unusable. So I wanted to bring that up. I wanted to also bring up the idea that honestly Netmarble could make a Defenders update, and I think the vast majority of players would really enjoy that because a lot of these characters are classic, and I think much in the same way as the Infinity War update that brought all of those new uniforms to existing classic iconic characters to rework them and to buff them majorly, like Captain America, Winter Soldier, etc. I think the same reaction, almost the same reaction, would be true if they did a Defenders update. But that is the first question that I want to pose to you guys. Do you think, or would you like to see a Defenders update where we got 4 new uniforms for all the characters that were of similar power level to the better Infinity War uniforms that we got for the, of course, Avengers? Of course, my answer is yes, but I do want to know yours. But of course, since these are data mined, it is possible, that although these ideas, these game files do exist in the code of the game, it's possible that they're just there as potential placeholders, but that they may never be used. So I don't want to make it sound like it's an inevitability or that it's something that they're even actively considering. They may have put those in during the first or second season of Daredevil, and we just haven't found them until now. I mean, it's unlikely because the game has been data mined before, but it's not impossible. And again, it's something that we shouldn't expect, but rather we should just consider, given what we know and what we've seen in the game. And unfortunately, on the other end of things, we know that Netmarble is very hesitant and very poor at giving characters reworks of any kind. And this guy right here probably needs it the most out of all of them. But that would be the case if we had a Defenders update. They wouldn't just release those cards. But how exactly would they release them? So because they're new cards, there's basically two ways that they can be released. They can either be released as premium cards that go into the new shop here, and they would be part of the card chest pool, and they would go in and be rotated in and out on a schedule, like the new Avengers card that we got for the Infinity War Legendary Battle, and so on and so forth. The second way they could come in is through Dimension Rift changes. Now, Luke Cage, Daredevil, and Iron Fist are all farmable through the story mode missions, so they are not technically available for Dimension Rift characters because they already exist as part of the story mission farmables. Now, this is a little bit untrue because MODOK is available for farming from story missions, but for all of the other characters, they're not. What that would mean is at least Jessica Jones could be inserted into this lineup for Dimension Rifts, and that could drop at least one of the new cards. So it's possible that they do kind of a 50-50 where they put a couple of new Dimension Rifts or one new Dimension Rift character. They could have a Defenders update where they introduce new characters like Colleen Wing or others, Typhoid Mary. And in that case, we could have multiple new Dimension Rift characters, multiple new Dimension Rifts, and voila, you have multiple new Dimension Rift cards because they're kind of tied to one another. And the perfect example, of course, is the most recent card / Dimension Rift that we had, where Angel was added, where the character's bios are obtained there, and the card is obtained from the Dimension Rift. So that is pretty much the only other way it could be introduced. There's obviously the third option, which is whatever else they want to do. If they want to introduce a new game mode, if they want to do a new heroic quest, if they want to do a event battle or something like that. The curiosity on the positive side of things is that the heroic quest, aside from Arachnite, they chose purposely Iron Fist, Luke Cage, and Jessica Jones. So that could be a hint that these cards are going to be coming and being added possibly as rewards for completing additional or future heroic quests for these Defenders. Now, that would be a lovely way to endear the community to the heroic quest. It would make the heroic quest much more valuable because even if you had to pay 750 crystals, if you were guaranteed a 6-star card of these new varieties, and if they had good base stats on them, it would be a very worthwhile investment because, as you know, cards apply to your entire account. So if there was basically a premium version of, let's say, the Nebula card, but imagine this was one of the new Defenders cards, and it had these two fixed options plus a third fixed option, let's say all attack or something like that, that would be an amazing card, and that would be a really great way for new and intermediate players to come into the game and see the value of a card because they had to go through all of that heroic quest in order to just unlock that one 6-star card instead of just getting a couple extra bios at the end for their hero, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, etc. Finally, we do have the possibility of Shadowland, and of course, Shadowland is in the comics based around Daredevil in the hand, and so with Daredevil comes immediately talk of the Defenders, and it really makes sense. And so it would be extremely cool to see an upgrade of Shadowland to coincide with the Defenders and to coincide with their kind of reintroduction. Wow, that's a lot of team-ups. Their reintroduction into relevance in Marvel Future Fight because they're just so bad. And I want to take you into some Shadowland right now just to show you. Now, this is one of the more difficult stages, absolutely, but all of these characters are tier 2. There's 3 of them. I have different types. I have energy, physical, and this is just not gonna last at all. Everyone's gonna die. The only character that's gonna survive is the one that can't even do much damage, Danny Rand, Iron Fist, because they have energy immunity. But as you can see here, he's already basically at the end of his rope, even with a damage proc, even with double max HP, even with immunity and a legendary uniform. There's just no way he can do this stage. There's no way I could do the stage at all. There is no combination of defenders that anyone owns that could complete this stage. I'm pretty confident when I say that. Possibly a super decked out Daredevil if he got extremely lucky with max dodge and his 30% ignored, 30% guaranteed dodge, could possibly finish that stage. Maybe. But the damage output would have to be insane. You would need CTPs. You would need basically the #1 Daredevil in the game. And even then, I have my doubts. So these characters need reworks and upgrades bad. The public, you know, the general Marvel fan, the casual Marvel fan loves these characters and loves Netflix and what they're doing with all these characters. And you've seen it with the reaction to Punisher and all of his upgrades. So it's a no-brainer. And I think it's a huge win-win for everybody involved. The fans are really going to feel like it's an awesome update because most of these characters are farmable and most of these characters are beloved, either as icons, new or old, or just as badasses in general. And of course, new comic cards means additional ways to build your roster and to build your 5 stats that you kind of balance out to get the optimal card effects. So let me know what you guys think of the Data Mined Defenders cards. Let me know what you think of the idea of the possibility of these 4 cats getting their rework and what it would look like and how they could kind of get back into the meta without losing their soul, because we don't want to make them just carbon copies of every other character with copy and paste stats and effects. So get creative down below in the comments. Subscribe if you enjoy the content and you want to support me. Hit the bell if you don't want to miss any of my videos. And of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.